Empathy is what binds people together. And this one emotion that brought the IIT and IIM students together on a single platform caters to the need of the society. Having joined hands for a common cause, Team Sigma, the Students for Involved Governance and Digital Action comprises students from various renowned institutions from across the country and have recently launched the Ekatra helpline number to help connect the workers and employers from Delhi and NCR. In this episode of Different Strokes, we will be in conversation with Team Sigma to know about their little initiative and how they've restored the human emotions of empathy, kindness, and humanity in all of us. Thank you so much, team, for joining us today. It is a pleasure to have you all with us. How are you all doing?
Thank you, Elena, for inviting us. All of us are doing great. In fact, we've just got done with a long day attending calls, and our helpline. I think that we'll also talk about later is functional from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. So yeah, I mean this is post working hours for us in a way.
I can only imagine it must have been a very tiring day, keeping in mind the fact that the helpline recently got launched.
Right, the days have been long and we are actually swamped with calls. So, yes, we are on calls in the shift that we are attending the calls. There are too many calls, but then it's always overwhelming to see such in response to an initiative that we started. And it only just pushes us forward to keep working harder for this.
Definitely. We hope that you get many more responses in the days to come. Guys, I would like to know, and I'm sure that everybody else out there who's listening to you would like to know the faces behind the curtain. So tell us more about yourselves. What does this team Sigma comprise?
Sure. So, Alina, we have four of us, I think, who are joining us, who are joining you for this interview. However, we are a team of 26 people, 24 students currently from 7 different institutions, varying backgrounds. We have students from IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, IIM Calcutta in the management domain. We have students from IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi joining us from the tech and the science background. And from the social sciences space, we have students from St. Stephen's College, Delhi University, and Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Bombay. Apart from the 24 students, we are also joined with two IAS officers, two very serious, senior and renowned bureaucrats, Mr. Abhishek Singh and Ms. Durga Shakti Nagpal.
Okay, perfect. And it's great to see the diverse community of people that you have in your team. And it's amazing to see this team here. Thank you so much for joining us. We're aware that this team comprises of students from all across the country. But how do you guys stay in touch? Like, it's very difficult to stay in touch right now because you cannot meet, and especially in these COVID era, in this time, you have to stay in touch via conference calls and video calls. So, how does this team stay in touch?
So to answer your question, yes, agreed that we have to be on a lot of calls, some of them being voice calls and a lot of them being video calls also to ensure that there is more interaction. The way we go about it is that we have divided ourselves into several subgroups within the team so that we have a defined objective, we define something that we are working for, and those group of people work very closely with each other. And then we have a regular interaction amongst all of these subgroups also so that we know that where we are going as a team. But yes, agreed. The major mode of communication that we're using is through video calls and voice calls and all of this that we're using right now.
Okay, one more question that I would like to ask you here is that how did this team come about? Like, how and when did you connect all these team members from different colleges, from different places? How did you all come together in one single loop?
Right. So, Alina, around the same time last year is when, at least I can talk, I walked into IIM Ahmedabad, and, similarly, my batchmates and a lot of us in our team walked into a B school last year. So, and of course, I think you would maybe understand and relate that, there's a lot of hustle, there's lots of activities that are going on in campus, and your first year of a B school is usually considered to be a very hectic time in your life, right? As an overall juncture. So, of course, I think few months into the program, me and some of us, all of us realized that the fact that, we have a batch of about 400 students at IIM Ahmedabad, and these are students who are coming from various different backgrounds. And the sheer amount of diversity, clearly told us that there's a lot of things that we can together, if we work together on anything, right, we bring on the table. And with this thought, I think one thing that some of us at IIM Ahmedabad found common between all of us was that we wanted to create some large scale impact for the society. With this thought in our head, in around November last year, we came about together, and we started from scratch. We had the broad idea of creating a student think tank across the country, right? Because when we were talking as a group of friends, right, we realized that there's no direct platform where students can contribute in the governance process. So if we, as let's say few students of IIM Ahmedabad, wanted to do something, there were very limited options on what we could do. We could either work with an NGO, we could try the route of doing an internship with a public policy organization, or there was nothing very direct where we thought that we work, we come together, and then there's some impact that we can create on a larger front. So keeping that in mind, we formed Sigma. We reached out to so we had two IS officers who would, in the month of August, delivered a talk at one of the college events. They had also mentioned something similar, that the role of students and youngsters in the nation development process is very important. So suddenly all of that also striked, and we reached out to them, and they were the idea resonated very well with them, and 7 of us started working on this idea. We started working. We picked up, exploring. We started exploring two projects. One of them with the Digital India team on one of their flagship initiatives on how do we revamp that and how do we take it to more and more people. And another project that we were exploring was with the Central Warehousing Commission of India. So and then over the last few months, we thought of going one step further and opening it up with students from different backgrounds. And yes, now I think for the last 2 months, we've been working with our current team size, 26 people. And as a group, of course, you know about Ekatra Helpline and the project the project Ekatra that we are working on for migrant laborers and their job discovery and demand supply mismatch. But there's another project that we are parallelly working on, which focuses on primary education of the country. And if there are any structural changes that we can suggest to central or state governments in order to improve that that entire process. So I mean, that's about Sigma. And we're very optimistic about creating positive impact. We in the near future also expect to have more of fellow students join us across different campuses, across different backgrounds, so that we can together come up with something very constructive, that we can suggest to governments eventually, right? So we don't intend to be a group which is going about and conducting campaigns month on month. We want to become a body, or the idea that we have is that we want to be a think tank group which is working on not just projects but on models, and models that are sustainable, that can be picked up as is by state and central government of the country, and then they can use the means to implement it, scale it, and we would be more than happy to give in our contribution to this process.
It's amazing to see how this young team is working on so many projects and working for a social cause. It's beautiful. I would like you to emphasize a little more on the helpline number. And now that we all know about Ekatra helpline number, tell us how this idea developed and where did this helpline number come into the picture?
Sure, I'll take that. So, as we told you that we started around 2 months back with a full team that we have, and that was during the COVID period. And in this period, we started looking at the major problems which were actually structurally also binding the country, and major population was being affected by that. And one of the reasons in that was the rehabilitation of the migrant workers. Due to the COVID situation, a lot of people were displaced from where they were residing as of then, and they were forced to go back to their native places. Due to this, a two-faced problem was created. One was for the workers who were working because they had lost their only mode of livelihood, and a lot of people were not skilled enough to be able to searching for jobs, or the places that they went back to, they did not have a lot of job opportunities, nor did they have the channels to reach out to such opportunities if there were any nearby to the areas that they were now at. And also the second problem was to the employers that these people were having with the as it is crippling industry. They were seeing a lack of laborers, and now once we see that the lockdown has started to reopen slowly, these people are also at a loss of finding back these workers and to restart the work that had been left. So this was a two-faced problem, and here we thought that if we could build a platform, if we could provide a channel to these people to connect them to the relevant people, the two sides, the employer side and the worker side, then it would be something that we can do, and it would help a great deal in solving the problem. So that is how this idea came up with. Talking specifically about the helpline, then as we understand that the target audience here, especially on the supply side of things, that is the workers and the laborers part, they're not very tech savvy. The digital penetration in country is good, but then it is not to a level, and they're not literate enough for us to be floating Google Forms or any other tech sort of medium. Obviously the best thing was we should have physical centers, but since that was not possible, the next best medium that we had was a telephone helpline number, which is accessible to most of the people, given that cell phone penetration is around 99% in the country. So I think with that, we came up with the idea that if we launch a helpline, we understand that at the back end part of it, there's a lot of work involved for us, because we will have to receive those calls and note down all of these details of the people who are calling us. But then this is one mode that we thought that we could reach out to them in a better manner. We could target our audience. So this is the way we started the helpline, the Ekatra helpline. And yes, that is the whole idea that went behind this.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful initiative. Now, two questions emerge from this point. One is that how did you connect with the employers? Were you already in touch with them beforehand, or did this start after the helpline was launched?
So both actually. Before starting the initiative, also we thought that before taking in request of the workers, we should have some place to place them. So we reached out to all of our contacts, the IS officers associated with us. They also helped a lot in this manner in spreading out to the word to the employers. Specifically, we started with a pilot in Delhi and NCR to see that to which level we can scale it up going further, given the resource constraints that we have as a team of only students. We did not want to scale it up to a level that we could not meet the standards that it needed. So we started with a pilot in Delhi NCR specifically. And as I was mentioning, so we started with a few employer contacts even before we launched our helpline. We had a few vacancies on board already. But as we started the helpline, it is really good to see that we're getting more and more vacancies from the employer side also. People are contacting us and they are letting us know that they are in need of such laborers, and this is the kind of response that we have been expecting. We have been expecting response from both the sides so that we can scale this up even more.
Okay, wonderful. And it's good to say that so many people are turning up to hire people, because that is one important point of this entire initiative. Now, the coming to the second part of my question, uh, what all details do you ask for when you are connecting with these workers, and how does the helpline run? So, is it the entire team of 26, 27 people that you are? Is it are you guys handling the helpline number, or is it somebody else who is handling it?
So for the helpline number, like it's running from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and almost everybody is involved in it. And we take shifts for 2 hours each, and each time at least 2 people from our team are online. And we receive calls from the workers who are interested in looking for work, and we receive calls from the employers as well as some volunteers. So talking about the responses, we already have a significant number of job openings all throughout the Delhi NCR region. A lot of contractors and industrialists have approached us. And on the other hand, we have had around 800 plus laborers or workers who had registered with us. although they have been from different backgrounds. Some are educated, some are looking for some technical work, some are looking for labor work, some are for construction work, some are unskilled helpers. And for now, our focus is mainly on the unskilled and skilled laborers, but we are hoping to extend it further.
Raghav, I would like to ask one more question here. How do you connect these workers and employers? So, is there some point of communication that you establish, or do you fill forms for them? What is the process behind that?
The basic idea is we take the information and the required information from the workers, and we receive the requirements for the jobs, like what all the skills do they need, the employers need to be there in the workers. And we create a database for both of them, for the workers and the employers. And then we do a mapping at the end of the day. And after we have mapped, we give the contacts of the laborers to the employers, and the employers to the laborers, so that they can have conversations without us getting into the loop.
Adding to what I think Raghav said, and I think Raghav, you brought about a very important point. The parameters that we are currently using, we've started out with 5 parameters, and we are in the process of coming up with an advanced algorithm where eventually we can do the best match for both the employer and the employees. So that is that's something which is that we are looking at in a very dynamic manner, and we hope that we'll be able to further finesse this by way of directly having conversations. So when we receive calls, we are not just taking details, but the team is also we are also trying to gauge the exact requirements of both the sides of the model. So are there any other softer aspects involved? How do these people think about jobs, or how do people who are in need, how do they look at places that they want to work at? So we're trying to right now we're trying to absorb as much information, and it's a very dynamic process. End of day, we also have calls where we share learnings with each other, and moving ahead, how do we improve our system?
Two things to add over here. One final example of something that Bhartendu mentioned. So because these are such testing times, we have had people who have certain sort of skill, who have worked in a particular industry, who have had stable jobs in the past, but because of the current situation, they're even ready to work as laborers or even ready to work in factories. So we have had a lot of such calls. It's really saddening to see such situations. So I think what he was trying to say over here, that we are not only mapping the skills of these people, but we are trying to match their expectation. So even if somebody is ready to work in any kind of work, we are ensuring that we are sending their contacts to the employers. And further focusing on one thing that Raghav mentioned, one final nuance of how we are working is we're not getting into the process of negotiation between the employer and the employee. The way we are operating is that we are sending the contacts of these workers or laborers or any people that we find relevant to the employers who are looking to hire people. And then the final conversation about how the arrangement is to be between those two people goes amongst themselves only.
Okay, perfect. I think that was supposed to be my next question, that how do you establish the connection, and is there a contract that you sign between the two parties? Thank you for answering that, Arushi. And I cannot even imagine the plight of these people, what they would be going through, that they're ready to work as laborers when they were already working in some established industry. Now, moving on to another part of the question, we know that this idea is very unique, and this idea of launching a helpline has the power to do wonders. Where was this idea initially developed, and how did it come into the picture that, okay, we will go ahead with the helpline and not maybe some other initiative?
So we initially started with the helpline numbers or similar such initiatives being taken across the country, and we studied some apps from other states, and we could see that uh, so the helpline number was best way to connect to the laborers and the migrant workers, because they are not much tech heavy and they must not be having the smartphones to access all these platforms. So we thought that the helpline number would be the best thing to connect to these laborers and the migrant workers, and that's why we thought that we we we, c- we could start with this helpline number and then move on to the apps thing, because this helpline number would only help us to analyze a lot of things like what type of data are we getting, what are the workers who are demanding jobs, and what type of jobs they are demanding. Also, one interesting thing that emerged from this talks from the helpline number. So one guy, he called me today and he said that he has an NGO of his own, and he's working in Bihar, and he can connect me to around 2,000 laborers who are looking for jobs. So we are getting all types of people who are just calling on this helpline number, and it's not just the employers and the laborers who are looking for these things. And in a way, we are connecting to a lot of people. We are also connecting to social workers who can help us to connect the laborers and the migrant workers. So this is like a bit surprise for us that we are getting people from all across the platform.
Amazing, amazing. This is such a good news. I think this is a good news for the entire Team Sigma to hear about such a big NGO, such a person who is willing to share the contact details of 2,000 laborers.
Yeah.
It is a very huge number if we think about that. What is the ratio of employers and workers that you're receiving? The calls that you're receiving on a daily basis. What is the ratio of them?
So that number is a bit skewed because we are receiving requests from all over the place, and the industries are also very diverse in the kind of work that they do. For example, I'll give you an example. We have an average of around 10 to 20 vacancies per employer that we're getting, but then there are some people with much lesser vacancies of 5 to 10 people also. There are some people who are specifically looking for only skilled workers, but then we have some vacancies with around 200 to 300 people also in just one place. Majorly, there are industrial pockets in Delhi and NCR. There are a lot of industries which look for these workers. We have had a contact which says that they can connect us to all of these industries in that industrial pocket. And the number that we have received is that there are around 200 factories which around with an average requirement of 10 people in one factory. So in that way, the scale and scope of this thing is huge.
Amazing. The response has been overwhelming. It is amazing to see how much this team can achieve. Now, there is one more thing that I am interested about knowing, and that's making me curious. That Bharatin has just mentioned that you guys are thinking that Sigma is thinking of a lot more other projects, and you're already working on a parallel project. What other projects is Sigma looking at? And if not projects, how is this helpline going to develop in the future? Are you going to build an algorithm around it? Are you going to build a computer software around it? Like, is it going to evolve in the near future, or will you be working on some other project?
You asked a very important question. What are we doing with the helpline moving ahead, going forward, right? So I think, like I mentioned in the beginning, as a group, we believe that instead of doing good actions, it's better to work on creating models, building solutions that are sustainable. So as a part of that endeavor, what we are doing is that we are working on a very comprehensive report. And the broad idea is that we work. Of course, I think, like Vipul mentioned, we are now getting a lot of direct FaceTime, direct call time with people on ground. So with that, along with us now connecting with a lot of other similar initiatives, so there are multiple people who are in their own ways trying to solve this problem, who are trying to work in the social space in terms of helping people on both sides of the spectrum. So we've already connected with about half a dozen major applications, startups who are working in this space. So that being our second major input. And thirdly, I think the pilot that we are doing, right, that is going to be a very descriptive and a very indicative answer to how this problem can be solved. So with these three things, we intend to accumulate all our learnings and put this up in a comprehensive report, which we will as a group definitely take ahead, and we will take it to the state governments and also to the central government. And in case they, in their wisdom, they think that this is something that is scalable and can be picked up, we would ideally want this to be rolled out nationally, or at least in multiple states wherever possible. So that is the vision that we are working with. We are working with the vision to create models, and at the same time, I think our entire team agreed although at first it looked like a very mammoth task to come up with a helpline with these times, and we are students, right? We don't have any experience of executing something similar. So but then I think we made sure that we spent enough time on planning different aspects of this helpline and how do we go about things. And yeah, I think it's been very, very overwhelming, and we hope that we'll learn a lot in this process. And as a byproduct, if we can help hundreds of thousands of people in Delhi NCR find jobs, I think that'll be that'll make us very happy as a team.
Definitely. I'm sure this helpline is going to help a lot many people. And I'm sure that the viewers who are listening to us and who will be listening to us later will be connecting with Team Sigma and will be hopping onto your helpline to maybe connect you with a lot more workers and employers. And I'm sure this is going to achieve a lot more heights. So this Team Sigma is an inspiration, and you have been an inspiration for both preschool students as well as engineering students. So, what advice would you like to give to these young ones who are motivated to do something in life, but they do not know what path they should tread?
So this was the whole idea of where Sigma emerged from. We as a students were in a similar place that you're talking about, these students are in right now. We wanted to do something. We had that sort of insight that yes, we can contribute in a way, but we did not know of a proper channel of where and how we can do it. So I think personally also I feel that it is very important to keep up this fire, because we as a community and we as a country have a lot of scope for development. And if the educated part of the society, especially the students right now, the youth of the country in colleges, if they contribute their bit, a little bit of their time to the development of the whole country, I think we can reach greater heights. The governance part is not just the responsibility of the government, it is a fewer bunch of people. But if we as citizens take up this responsibility, and if we're ready to share this burden in a very little small ways, I think that will go a long way in creating a difference. We would love to invite people to volunteer with us at Sigma. We will be working on different kind of projects in the future. This is one thing, the education part is another bit. Going forward, we will be looking at more and more challenging stuff and other things that where we can assist the government in helping with whatever little ways that we can. So we would request people to come forward and to volunteer with us. We have a lot of work, and we think the bigger the pool, the better is the stuff that we can come up with. And also, other than that, people should continue to look out for ways in which they can contribute in wherever, however they can, maybe working at an NGO, creating something of their own, or if there's just randomly anything, any policy, if they have any sort of recommendations, they should always reach out, voice their opinions to the people in the places of power so that they can create difference with what suggestions that these have.
Okay, very rightly said, Arushi. I agree with all your points. Every bit counts, and it is very important to understand this point that whatever you do, it counts, it matters in the end. To everybody listening, a write up about their endeavor is live on Dare to Compete. You can go on a website and have a look at it. Share it with as many people as you would like. You never know who might find Sigma helpful. Thank you so much, team, for connecting with us. It was wonderful knowing you and your journey. Dare to Compete is proud of your accomplishments, and we wish you the best for all your future endeavors. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe, stay home, and take care.